Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. If you're a first time visitor, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Tonight I want to do a walkthrough. This is the second time that I've had to take two of filming this. So tonight I'm going to do a deck walkthrough on a deck that I really love. I've had for quite some time. I only just realized exactly how long I've had it, and I've not used it nearly as much as I thought I would have, and quite honestly, as much as I would like to. And the reason, quite simply, is foolish overthinking and an unhealthy dose of perfectionism foolishness going on, quite honestly. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in a moment. Yeah, so this deck is absolutely beautiful, and I'm excited to share it with you guys tonight. And it's funny that I don't see, it's really weird to me that I don't see, at least in the hallways of the YouTube verse that I'm wandering down, it's funny to me that I don't see a lot of people talking about this deck for as well thought out and beautiful as it is. So without further ado, I give to you the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing the creator's name correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. So this is the front of the box, and it is a beautiful, so well thought out, beautifully curated with so much love and attention. So the exterior of the box features what is the Moon card. As you can see, the title, and what does it say up there? A deck and guidebook. And I love the beautiful gold gilding and the embellishments around the side. So much attention to detail and care. And then on the sides of the box, each sides, we have where it says the title, Tarot of the Divine, and a deck and guidebook. And then on the end caps, matching each top and bottom end cap, is the different phases of the moon. Again, the gorgeous gold gilding. And look at that gorgeous turquoise teal color. My favorite colors. So it is a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck, but told through the lens of folklore. So the back, and there's the back of the box. The pathway to enlightenment is unique for each of us, but many of the lessons that we learn are shared stories passed among cultures and generations. Tarot of the Divine brings traditional tarot archetypes to life with a lustrous series of fables, including The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Crane Wife, Sleeping Beauty, King Arthur, and stories from many lesser-known legends and deities from all over the world. Just as the tarot provides ways to interpret the world around us, so too do these illuminating folk tales. And it is published by Clark Potter Publishers, which it seems is a subsidiary of Penguin Random House. And it's so funny because the copyright, I thought I had this deck for about 2 years, and then I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it's been 3. It's been 4. It's been 4 years that I've had this deck, because I realized a few moments ago that the publishing, the copyright date is 2020 when this came out. And I'm still not using it like I would like to. And hopefully this video will encourage me to change that. So at the time of my purchasing this, and I'm pretty sure I got this on Amazon, it was $19.99 US, $25.99 Canadian. And the box did come with a nice little plastic seal to make sure everything stayed secured in its place. And it is a very sturdy box. I love this. I love when you have boxes like this because they don't take up an enormous amount of space, but it's definitely enough to keep the cards safe and protected. Or if you display, like I have a cabinet where secretary where I display cards that are in nice boxes. So it does make for a nice way to display them. But most importantly, it protects the cards, especially if you're a person who, moves around or travels with your deck. So the box opens up, treasure chest style. Nothing on the interior, but again, you can hear very, very sturdy cardboard that it's created with. And it does come, so it has a small guidebook that comes with the deck. So if you purchase it in and of itself, this will come with the deck of cards. It also is a separate option, and I'm not sure if this was a Kickstarter or if she just went straight to mass market. But this is a separate book that does come. It's a larger guidebook, full color guidebook. That is a separate thing that you can order to delve more in depth into the stories, because again, it is based on so many folk tales and lore globally. So the guidebook that does come with it, this is it. And it just says the title, and again, inspired by deities and folklore from around the world. And again, the creator's name. On the first page, welcome, listener, seeker, speaker. And then when you open, just a little bit of an intro. And again, it is a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck. And it does stay true to the suit categories. So we have cups or cups, coins or pentacles or coins in here. We have swords and we have wands. And in the beginning few pages, because the backs do have reversals, so she gives a little bit of information about how to read reversals and a couple of deck spreads. I love the fact, I really think it's such a nice touch when creators do have color pages, colors of the cards. It's not necessary because you will look at the cards, but I think it's so nice to be able to look as you're reading a guidebook to see the color images. So each one, and aren't these, God, the jewel tones. I mean, I am a jewel tone girl. So this had me kind of almost at hello, pretty much at hello. And so the first portion is just a small blurb on each card. So it gives you the card, then it tells you the name of the fairy tale or folklore, or the name of the spirit or god or goddess that is featured on the card. Then it tells you the country of origin. Then it gives a brief little blurb about the card's meaning as the depiction in association with the way that the artwork has been specifically curated. Then upright meanings, some bullet points, and then reversal meanings with bullet points. So it's a small little guidebook, but it does its job. It does its job well. Forgive me, you guys. It is hot. It is, good Lord, it's just gone midnight. It is midnight 10. It is 10 minutes after midnight, and it's still about 88 degrees. It's hot. Okay, 88 degrees with the heat index, but I don't understand why we differentiate. If that's what it feels like, then that's what I think it should be called. So it's probably like 82 degrees with a real feel of 88. So it is warm. And I do try to give the old AC a little bit of a break when I can take it, but we're gonna have to go kick that thing on in a minute. So here's the inside of the box. It does have the pull tab, which I do love, so that cards can easily be pulled right on out. So let's pull those out. And then a nice well to keep cards safe and protected and from sliding around. So I love that. So here's the backs. Aren't they just beautiful? And again, the different faces of the moon, those gorgeous shades of turquoise and teal, little sprinkling of starlight in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the beautiful little embellishments on the side. So if you are a person who reads reversals, I'm not, but if you're a person who reads reversals, this will suit you nicely. The cardstock is excellent. The cardstock is top-notch. It is excellent. The thing that makes it excellent is something that is a thing that I don't like. I'm not a fan. Linen, you know, it's a divisive thing. It's a divisive topic. Some linen folks, some non-linen folks. This deck is kind of making me I'm looking for the right word because it's not, I don't like it. So it's not fair to say it's making me like it. No, it's not. I do not care for linen. It's making me get past that. It is making me get past that, but I'm just not a linen girl. I'm a weirdo who loves glossy cards. And I love rose petal finish. Oh, I do love a rose petal finish. So I'm not a huge fan, but the linen and the plastic coating. So if you are a person who reads at festivals, reads at outdoor fairs or weddings or any of that kind of thing, or lives in a swamp where it's very humid and you're outside reading, these cards will definitely stand up. Oh, the AC gods heard me and just kicked on. So when I had to come back and redo the video because I realized, because I have used this deck so many times, not nearly as much as I would like to have, but because I have used it, I had to go back and put it in order. So making sure, yes. So the full card. And I love this deck because here we have featured the Little Mermaid. So as well as, even though it is, again, a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck, very solid traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, it's such a beautiful way to explore in more depth the meanings of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith definitions through the lens of the different archetypes of stories. So our magician is Cinderella. Or her fairy godmother from Cinderella. And this is where the imposter syndrome, that's a whole nother video. This is where the overthinking, perfectionism, foolishness comes into play that I was mentioning, because I have not used this deck nearly as much as I would want to, because I want to do the deep dive on each of the stories. There's no need to do that, because again, it's so solid in keeping with the truth of Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. It drives me when beautiful decks will come out, but the creator will just have found gorgeous artwork, but it does not make any kind of sense as to how they just said, oh, this is gorgeous artwork, slap some titles on it from tarot deck, and let's call it a tarot deck. That is a major pet peeve of mine. So that is not the case with this deck. So we have, I'll go through the guidebook right quick with this one. So we have beautiful High Priestess, my go-to card. If I don't like the High Priestess, Moon, Nine of Pentacles. But High Priestess, absolutely. If I don't like the High Priestess, I might not, very well may not buy the deck. And this is, look at how beautiful. Everything about the imagery of this card, her veil, the pillars, as opposed to the standard pillars, the two lanterns. We have the crescent moon shining with the stars. So it gives off this beautiful feminine energy, because the high priestess is so associated with divine feminine energy, feminine wisdom, femme energy, and the shroud of mystery. So she has the book and her veil of how much will I disclose, how much will I let you know. And because Scheherazade is a story that I am familiar with, it matches perfectly. But I'm going to just open up the guidebook and read what is written in it. So again, you have your card and then the write-up. So Scheherazade, Turkey, Arabic folktale. The high priestess is a keeper of vast knowledge, with a story for every situation. Scheherazade asks the listener to focus on what their subconscious tells them, encouraging them to form their own conclusions. Her power is vast, yet subtle. Her answer is always mysterious. And then it just goes on to the bullet point meanings for the high priestess. And so what makes it so perfect that, for example, Scheherazade as the high priestess is the story of the TLDR version, is a woman who had to be very shrewd and very clever because to save her life, essentially. And she definitely had to tell stories. So it's perfect that she has the book, very much like the high priestess with the scroll, the knowledge, the wisdom. But in the story of Scheherazade, it was telling just enough information so that it kept the reader, for her, the person to whom she was reading, it kept their attention long enough to keep making them want more. But she knew she couldn't disclose her own plans and how she was not disclosing everything, all of the information, and being very, very clever and very intuitive in how to do this. So it perfectly marries, and I love that. But the fact that I don't know all of the stories and haven't studied them. Here we have Our Lady of Guadalupe, a perfect example. Merlin is our emperor. White Buffalo Woman is the high priestess, is the Hierophant. So I love how inclusive, and again, it is stories from around the world, but that just lends itself to such this beautifully organic, this reminds me of Merida, this beautifully organic way of being so inclusive, so multicultural, and such this beautifully authentic and fascinating way of learning about so many stories, and how that can lend itself to fleshing out deeper meanings in readings. Oops. Death card. Queen Tara as Temperance. And so the stories that I have looked up and learned, it's just really been so fascinating to go on a journey of learning more. Oh, sorry guys, I've got a shoulder problem over here on the right. So it's just been really interesting to learn what I have learned about the stories, to give more depth and meaning to the cards. But I keep having to remind myself, you don't have to do that. And if you are interested in purchasing this deck and using it, don't be me, don't do that. Because it's just not necessary. The imagery so clearly speaks, like what a beautiful, clear understanding of that is the Ace of Wands. Janice as the Two of Wands. And I love just, oh my God, I love this deck. It's so beautiful, the lush richness of the colors, the facial expressions, like look at that, Five of Wands. And it so lends, like this, for example, it lends itself, is this competition? Is this friendly competition, like a game? Or is this, no, it is serious business? Is this petty arguments? So I love how she captured such beautiful expressions, the scenery, everything just really comes to life. John Henry was a steel-driving man. For me, this gives such Ogu vibes. This gives such Ogun, excuse me, the Orisha Ogun, such Ogun vibes. And, you know, as with anything with tarot, it gives you the ability to, whatever our subconscious minds teach us. Baba Yaga, for the Nine of Wands. So I can't wait to delve into more learning Pele. Gorgeous. I thought this was a peacock. They say it's a phoenix. Beautiful Ace of Cups. Look at this beautiful, not a lovely Two of Cups. Oh, look at this Three of Cups. I love them so much. La Llorona, it's the Five. Like, how perfect is that? And the times that I have journaled with the deck, it really, really just spoke so easily to me. So it's really foolish that I haven't used it. And again, just gender fluidity, representation. It's just such a beautiful deck. Look at Yamaya Imonja as the Queen of Cups. And she really is an Orisha who was represented. I love how she kept to tradition with the aces of a hand. That one was Jack and the Beanstalk. And the traditions of the hand coming out of the sky to offer the representation of the suit. Look at that Five of Pentacles. I mean, you can just feel the isolation, the loneliness, the cold, and then the beautiful warmth of the stained glass windows inside, begging the question, why is she not going in? And I think that's the little match girl on that one. We have Native American representation. Another native spirit. I love this 10 of cups, 10 of coins, 10 of pentacles. But the dog is the wise elder. But it so beautifully speaks of family and traditions. Our sweet page with the reindeer. And I do love that all of the knights were on something moving. I mean, this isn't a horse, it's cattle, it's cow, but still, I love that. That's the funny thing about me, that I like to have the knights on a horse or something that's moving. Now our Ace of Swords. I believe that's the Gordian knot on this one. Venerous Wolf. How perfect. The Five of Swords with the story of Isis, and I believe, is that Set? I forget the name of the god, but yes, just the cruelty that was displayed, and Isis having to find her husband and put him back together again. Coyote as the 7 of Swords, perfect. And you know, this deck, even though it's a bright, beautiful colors, you know, fairy tales are not nice, fluffy stories quite often. This is a French fairy tale that, boy, that got dark. Donkey Skin, that's a very dark tale. Perfectly appropriate, though, the way she has it depicted. And it marries perfectly with the meanings of the traditional 8 of Swords. I'm sorry, guys. I just realized that I mixed up some of my Swords cards here. 2 of Swords. So not a traditional 3 of Swords, but it definitely still very much, I feel like, carries the meaning of the heartache, and especially once you read up on the story behind that. And then Sedna, 10 of Swords. Like, look at that little clever looking little inquisitive page. Our knight in motion, like the Knight of Swords should be. Our Queen, look at this, is definitely Queen of Swords does not suffer fools gladly, and clearly that Queen does not. And the Griffin for our King of Swords. So the deck shuffles so beautifully. They slide just a little bit. They do kind of slide, but I've never had them. They don't slide in a way like super glossy cards do, but the deck shuffles so smoothly, beautifully. I don't know that one could really riffle shuffle with this deck. So if that's your preferred way of shuffling, I don't know how that would, because she is kind of chunk. She is a thick deck, and I've got really big hands. So for me, this isn't a problem, and I think for most people, this would be fine. Pretty sure this is a standard size. Let me see what I have here that I have not altered. Okay, so Shadowscapes Tarot, Shadowscapes deck. You can see it's just a centimeter taller than Shadowscapes. So pretty standard card length and width, but it shuffles beautifully, but I don't think that this would be really hard to riffle shuffle. So if that's something you like to do, this deck doesn't lend itself too much to that. In closing, let's talk about the book. So very lovely, sturdy, hardback book that comes with it. The back says, in this riveting collection, beloved fairy tales, cultural fables, ancient mythologies, inspirational deities are all brought to life, including Rapunzel, Our Lady of Guadalupe, Turandot, The Crane Wife, and dozens more. Yoshi Yoshitani retells 78 delightful stories paired with lush, enchanting illustrations. Here's my thing, that this is where major points were taken off for me with the book. So the gorgeous front cover, and our moon card featured, and the beautiful lotus flowers. Beautiful pages, opening pages. I love the illustration of just the backs in and of themselves. And the cool thing is, because these are large images of color images, if you wanted to, you could easily take these, carefully cut them out and hang them, you know, frame them. Here's my beef. We have our table of contents, okay? the table of contents does not match up with what the cards are. So page 1, introduction. Okay, that makes sense. Page 5, Scheherazade and 1001 Nights. Why does it not say, since the deck and the book go together, why does it not say Scheherazade, High Priestess card, page 5, Sleeping Beauty, Magician card, page 9, Ananse the Spider, the World card? It just says the fairy tale or the god or spirit. And that's so not user-friendly when you're trying to correlate the stories to the cards. I do not understand, and it really is frustrating when you're going through the book to try to learn the meanings of the cards. Now, the beautiful illustrations, like I said, that you could easily print out. And I do love the introduction that the creator wrote, and it's a beautiful story about their life growing up and getting to know a little bit about the artist. And I really love that, and how the stories that they heard growing up as a child that lent this fascination from such a young age, that all is how they ended up coming to create this deck. So that part is wonderful. But again, here we have beautiful card for Scheherazade. Now we have the story. And quite honestly, the way that the text is written, the way that the story, it is not particularly well written, in all honesty. It's a little disjointed as you're reading. And boy, for somebody who speaks in run-on sentences and ADD, I am one to talk. But it's the way that it's written is not very fluid, not very cohesive, and that is a little bit frustrating. And I realize that they're trying to tell very, very lengthy stories with a lot of detail in a very concise and effective manner. But as a person who's reading the book, it really needed to have been a little bit more well written. But back to my beef. Why does it not say High Priestess on here? So that it's very easy to figure out who and what as you're going through the cards. But these beautiful, beautiful illustrations. So, you know, you take the good, you take the bad. And I don't feel like the bad is worth it, is so bad that I would not say that I would encourage you not to buy the book. If you want a deeper dive on these stories, I think that it is definitely worth it. Just be advised that it doesn't flow as seamlessly as it could. So this has been my walkthrough on Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani. And I think that there's so much that this deck has to offer. I think as a reader, it's perfect whether you're an experienced reader or whether you're a beginner reader, whether you get the more in-depth hardback book. This deck lends itself. I can't think of a time or an experience where this would not be very user-friendly, very appropriate to whatever group of people that you're reading for. It's a really, really beautiful deck. So those are my thoughts on it. And thank you all again for stopping by, and I will see you in the next video.